And welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I am Frank Omalape. After more than 7 hours of deliberations, the National Council of State has decided that only the Independent National Electoral Commission can decide the fate of the election. This was after INEC had reaffirmed its readiness at the meeting, which had Muhammadu Buhari and virtually all the governors of the All Progressive Congress in attendance. Speaking after the meeting, Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha told State House correspondent that INEC was emphatic on elections holding this month. His Ondo State counterpart Olusegun Mimik also gave his thoughts on the outcome of the meeting.
Reports coming from INEC indicates that INEC has said they are very, very ready to conduct the election, and the security agencies have shown concern about certain local governments where they have security challenges. But INEC has the powers to conduct election, including fixing date for elections. And so Council rules that INEC should then inform the nation as to their preparedness and proceed to conduct election.
The Council of State is essentially an advisory body. We have to advise Mr. President. Mr. President, in his wisdom, has invited INEC to brief us on state of preparedness based on what INEC briefed us and based on perception of council member and security agencies. INEC was appropriately advised, and you hear from INEC.
The Independent National Electoral Commission will on Saturday take a final decision on whether the elections will hold as scheduled this month. To this end, it has invited chairmen and secretaries of all registered political parties to a meeting in the aftermath of the INEC chairman Tahiru Jega's presentation to the Council of State. A statement issued by INEC spokesman Kaude Idowu indicates that Jega will also hold a separate meeting with resident electoral commissioners. He added that INEC chairman will thereafter brief the media on whether the elections will go ahead as currently scheduled. Progressive Congress has hailed the decision of the National Council of State as a triumph of the nation and its people over parochial, individual and political interests. It also said the Council's position indicates the stance of millions of Nigerians who are keen on a change in the circumstances. Spokesman of the party's presidential campaign team Garba Shehu said in a statement that the decision is a further confirmation of the sacrosanct nature of the election dates as well as the May 29, 2015 handover. APC noted that it was glad that a major crisis which would have made Nigeria the laughingstock of the civilized world has been averted. While asked before the decision at the Council of State meeting, a coalition of 10 political parties insisted that there is no basis for shifting the forthcoming elections from their original date. The parties, which converge on Abuja under the banner of Coalition of Progressive Political Parties, also wants the international community to put pressure on the Nigerian authorities to comply with the electoral timetable. The party leaders argue that the move could trigger crisis and plunge the country into anarchy at a time the country is faced with a security challenge.
The call for the postponement of the election is therefore a call orchestrated by one of the political parties which has continued to invest huge sums of money to ensure the elections do not hold as scheduled, out of fear of losing power for the first time since 1999. Our democracy has come of age, and Nigerians are ready for change. We will not allow desperation and power-mongering to scuttle it, and will do whatever is necessary to defend it and ensure that the general election holds as scheduled. We call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, not to be intimidated or by desperate elements, and to proceed with its preparations for the general election as scheduled. We assure INEC we shall stand by it shoulder to shoulder to ensure our democracy is not undermined.
There was also a protest march in Abuja city center by a group of Nigerians opposed to the plans to postpone the February elections. The march, which began at the Unity Fountain, however, ended around Eagle Square after security personnel refused the protesters access to the road leading to the presidential villa. The protesters, who had placards of various inscriptions, insisted that the elections have to hold as scheduled.
The National Council of State has been convened today to discuss the possibility of postponing the election. And on behalf of the 170 million Nigerians, we have mobilized various groups in Abuja to come and demonstrate and register the pulse of Nigerians that the election should proceed. More so, that the chairman of INEC had kept insisting that he is prepared to conduct the election. So we wonder why people who have no business with the election are sitting to suggest the postponement of the election. We are determined and committed to the unity of this country and will not allow anybody to take any step that will jeopardize our national security. This is why we're here.
A Department of State Service, DSS, is determined to deal with the individuals and groups who would indulge in inflammatory statements in the build-up to the general elections. This is a reaction to recent war threats and inciting comments recently made by some ex-Niger Delta militants leaders. DSS spokesperson Marilyn Orga explained on the sidelines of a security briefing in Abuja that the agency had invited some of the ex-militants for questioning before and would not hesitate to act against any of them.
I want you to recollect that Asari Dokubo has been brought into the office a couple of times, but is not in the position of the office to begin to tell you who has been brought in or who has not been brought in. And we still stand on our words that whoever in any way would want to interfere or interrupt the peace that prevails, he or she will definitely go in for it.
The federal government has warned of plots by Boko Haram to disguise female suicide bombers as eligible voters on election day. Government officials say the plan involves stealing of permanent voter cards of female voters, which would then be used by the bombers to gain access to the polling centers in some parts of the country. Coordinator of the National Information Center, Michael Mary, disclosed this at a security briefing in Abuja. He advised Nigerians, especially female voters, to remain vigilant and ensure that their PVCs do not fall into wrong hands.
Recent intelligence indicates that some unscrupulous Nigerians have perfected plans to surreptitiously collect, buy, or steal the permanent voters' cards of female voters, hand over same to female suicide bombers, and create access for them into polling centers where they will detonate bombs and kill unsuspecting voters. By this information, therefore, Nigerians, especially female voters, are warned to remain vigilant and also jealously guard and preserve their PVCs to avoid the possibility of their being lost or used by these bad elements who would put them to untoward uses.
The federal government has launched 3 national security documents which it believes will pave way for a more effective war against terrorism and cyber crimes. The documents are the National Security Strategy, Counter-Terrorism Strategy, and Cyber Security Plan and Strategy. Speaking at a launch in Abuja, President Goodluck Jonathan advised all security agencies to adopt the principles enshrined in the document. He also solicited the cooperation of all Nigerians for the successful implementation of the new security initiatives.
The launching of these 3 documents is only a symbolic gesture that must be underpinned by concrete and proactive actions and measures. I therefore implore all security agencies to adopt and adapt the vision and principles contained in the documents. I also recommend the publication to civil society organizations, relevant stakeholders, and Nigerians in general. These documents will no doubt contribute immensely to our collective efforts at finding solutions to the security challenges which pose a threat to our progress and development efforts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to formally launch the National Security Strategy, the National Counter-Terrorism Strategy, and the Cyber Security Plan and Strategy.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff of Chad, Ibrahim Mohammed, is holding talks behind closed doors with his Nigerian counterpart, Alex Bade, at the defense headquarters in Abuja. The talks are coming at a time Chad has joined forces with Nigeria and Cameroon to tackle the Boko Haram insurgency. Speaking before the meeting, Marshal Bade said both parties will be discussing how best to strengthen existing bilateral agreement. Chad's defense chief, on his part, expressed confidence that the agreement will produce greater results in the ongoing war against insurgency in some parts of Nigeria. You're watching CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more stories after this time out. Do join us again.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
For more information on our news and other programs, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can as well follow us at CoreTV News NG. And our YouTube page is youtube.com/CoreTV TV Space the News. Oyo State Governor Abiola Jimobi has been awarded the most pension-friendly governor by the State Pension Association. This follows his administration's intervention in the workers' pension scheme. The governor, in his appreciation, pleaded with the pensioners to exercise more patience as they will do everything possible to recoup their pension funds allegedly embezzled by previous leadership in the state. A correspondent, Omotalo, has more.
2006. As what, you retired from? I was in the primary school. I was in the secondary school. At the time I was in the secondary school, I was taking 150 students a week, 30 students in a class. And I was taking 15 classes conscientiously. And after it, I became a supervisor for Akinyele before I retired. And look at me now. If the pension is not forthcoming, how come will the one not die before the pension comes? You should please, we know but you should please consider us. Old age is something to be reckoned with.
I've been given the better part of a life to serve in the state. This pensioner has pleaded with the current administration to do everything in its power to make sure she enjoys the fruit of her labor while she is still alive. Even though life has not been a bed of roses for pensioners in the state, the General Secretary, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Actor Zhao, representing the chairman of the association, says the Oyo State Governor deserves the recognition and award.
What we are expecting now is that he will, as he said, he will continue to improve on the pension payment.
While the issue of some unpaid pensioners remain a strong point for critics of the Ajimobi-led government always hold on to, these pensioners say the blame is not entirely his, as the problem stemmed from his predecessors.
This present governor is really trying for the pensioners, and we hope if he's re-elected, our future is better.
As he has been doing before the shortfall of revenue from the federal government. And I know that pensioners in Oyo State will have a better day ahead.
We pensioners are very hopeful that it will fulfill all the promises, that all the arrears owed the pensioners will be paid as soon as possible. So we are praying for the governor to succeed in his mission to go the second round.
Ajimobi, who blamed the past administration for the hardship pensioners in the state are currently passing through, pleaded with them that their suffering will soon be a thing of the past.
No governor has done it before. You had all the things they reeled out. The first one to buy vehicles for them, the first one to increase their salary, the first one to pay them regularly. All the money that previous governments said could not be paid, I've paid them.
The pensioners went away with renewed hope and assurance of a better tomorrow by the governor. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
Stalwarts of the People's Democratic Party in Oyo State and the supporters say the future of the party is bright ahead of the general elections. This follows the great reception received in Oyo town when the governorship candidate train visited. The campaign saw party stalwarts canvassing the people's support to vote for the party at all levels, including the governorship candidate. Our correspondent Omotalo is again here reporting.
It was a loud ovation as the campaign train of the PDP governorship candidate Teslim Folarin stepped into Oyo as excited supporters endorsed his candidature. Folarin paid a courtesy call on the traditional ruler of the town, Lamidi Adeyemi III, who appreciated the visit and warned against violence before, during, and after the election. For a former APC stalwart who recently defected to the PDP and the student union group, Folarin is the only candidate that can truly represent the interest of the youths.
Everybody claims to be part of the youth. Everybody claims to do things for the youth. If you see anybody campaigning, you say youth to youth, the future of Nigeria. When you are thinking of giving power to somebody older than my father, and you are telling me I'm Toros leader, when we'll be leaders? You know, when the power start coming down to the youth, that is what it means. That's the true change I want.
We believe that Teslim Folarin is an energetic and a formidable candidate that can deliver the state. You know, we have been suffering for 3.5 years, in which we don't want to be suffering any longer.
For the wife of the governorship candidate and other party chieftains, Folarin stands a better chance than his contemporaries.
I think he's proved that he's been solid and he's been hardworking, and his stint at the Senate speaks for itself. And we're very proud of him, and you can see from the turnout that it's looking very good for us.
We don't want a braggart. We don't want someone who's an ingrate, who's so proud of himself. That's Ajimobi. We don't want it. With the endorsement of the governor, the obas, chiefs, and community leaders, our chances are bright, because these are the people that will mobilize people to vote for the party.
Speaking against the background that Oyo town is the stronghold of the ruling APC in the state, Folarin says the people have made the right choice by coming out for him.
We're pleased with what we have now. As you can see, the reception has been very good. We're very happy. You can see. I think we'll win. We'll be okay.
And as the campaigns hot up among the governorship candidates, the days ahead will determine who truly justifies the trust of the people. Omatayo Alo, CoreTV News, Oyo.
And now the Lagos PDP governorship campaign train hits at Jeremy Veludu area of the state on Thursday. The campaign took a new twist as the people received 4 liters of kerosene as gift. Our correspondent Oluwaseyi Adegoke tells us more.
This obviously is not a kerosene selling point. It is the new style adopted by the Lagos PDP to reach the people in the party's bid to attract support for its governorship candidate, Jimmy Agbaje. The Lagos PDP chairman, Tunji Shele, says it is clear that the party will win the governorship election in the state.
We started the journey in Agege. We captured that local government. We went to Alimosho. We captured it. We went to Ifako-Idaye. We recovered it. We went to Ojo local government. Our people are plentiful. We went to Ekpe. We couldn't count the crowd. We went to Apapa. We discovered it and we recovered it. Yes, we were in Surulere yesterday. It was a big outing. The other day too, we did a road show. Go and look at it. Go and see what we had. Lagos is already one. Yes,
Man of the moment, Agbaje, while addressing the crowd, promised the community a real change that has not been experienced in the last 16 years under the present APC administration.
We are telling you today that our own government, by God's grace, come May 29th, is going to give water to the people of Ajeromi. Yes, sir. That the children of Ajeromi are going to have school. Yes, sir. Not be school that they will sit on floor. Not be school where roof they leak. We are saying that they will have good school. Yes, sir. They will have teacher. Yes. I am not just talking. Free lunch. I mean it. Education, a child that is not educated is a problem to society. A child must be properly educated.
The party urged the people to collect their PVCs, which will give them the opportunity to vote for Agbaje and other PDP candidates in the coming governorship and other elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Away from politics now, the forensic audit conducted into the operations of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has indicted the management of the corporation on a number of questionable transactions. The audit was ordered by the President Goodluck Jonathan in the aftermath of claims that oil revenue running into $20 billion was missing. Highlights of the audit report released on Thursday by the Auditor General of the Federation, Akora Samuel, shows that NNPC cannot account for $1.48 billion. PricewaterhouseCoopers recommended that NNPC should refund the amount and also wants the government to restructure the corporation's operation.
Into the Federation account in relation to the crude oil liftings was 50.81 billion. And not 47 billion as earlier stated by the Senate Reconciliation Committee for the period from January 2012 to July 2013. Based on the information available to PwC and from the analysis above, the firm, that is PwC, submitted that NNPC and NPDC should refund to the federal government a minimum of 1.48 billion. The corporation operates an unsustainable model. 46% of proceeds of domestic crude oil revenues for the period was spent on operations and subsidies. The corporation is unable to sustain monthly remittances to the Federation Account Committee. That's fact. And also meets its operation costs entirely from proceeds of domestic crude oil revenue and have to incur third-party liabilities to bring the funding gap. NNPC model of operation must be urgently reviewed and restructured as the current model, which has been in operation since the creation of the corporation, cannot be sustained.
It's still CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break shortly. We'll be back with more stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Outside Nigeria now, the investigation reports say black box data from the Trans-Asia Airlines turboprop plane that crashed in Taiwan has revealed that power was cut to both engines. The Taiwan's Aviation Safety Council confirmed that the plane's engines failed to produce enough thrust for 2 minutes after takeoff. Data suggests that the flight crew tried to stop and restart one of the engines without success. Flight GA235 carried 58 passengers and crew. At least 35 of whom died when the plane crashed into a river. 15 people survived the crash. At a briefing in Taipei, it was reported that the plane ran into trouble just 37 seconds after taking off from Taipei's Songkang Airport. Thomas Wang, director of the Aviation Safety Council, says the pilot announced a flameout, which can occur when the fuel supply to the engine is interrupted or when there is faulty combustion. However, he said there was in fact no flameout and the right engine had actually shifted into idle mode without the oil pressure having changed. And it's a wrap at CoreTV News at 4 now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Frank Omalape. Bye for now.